Cheryl Mason. Cheryl Mason is a young veteran of terror, emboldening both herself and her team. Her personal perks, Soul Guard, Blood Pact, and Repressed Alliance allow her to survive through immense hardship, stay in contact with team members, and plan objectives. Fine. Soul Guard. Rare Cheryl Mason perk. You've been through immense hardship, and you're stronger for it. Gain the Endurance status effect for 4 seconds after being healed or having recovered from the dying state. While cursed by a hex, you can fully recover from the dying state. Interesting. Blood Pact. Uncommon Cheryl Mason perk. It's as if a latent part of yourself has awakened. You feel like you can reach out beyond yourself for assistance. When you or the obsession are injured, you both see each other's auras. After healing the obsession or being healed by the obsession, you both gain the haste status effect for 4 seconds. Reduces the odds of being the obsession. If you are the obsession, this perk deactivates. Ouch. Repressed Alliance. Uncommon Cheryl Mason perk. You're accustomed to being hunted by malicious forces, and you've begun using it to your advantage. Repressed Alliance activates after repairing generators for a total of 80 seconds. When repairing a generator while the perk is active, press the active ability button to call upon the entity to block the generator for 30 seconds. The perk deactivates. Affected generators will be revealed by a white aura to all survivors. So it looks like this one is used to use the entity to prevent the killer from kicking in your generator that you almost finished. So I think it takes 2 minutes, 120 seconds to finish a generator. It seems like it's just to protect that one generator. Repressed Alliance. Her hand is extending and the entity is reaching out from her hand. So she's making use of the entity even though she's not supposed to be evil. This one looks pretty cool. Not sure which hexes would benefit you while you're still in the dying state. I'm sure there are a couple of them. Hex Ruin is obvious. Blinding, that's another one. There's a bunch that you wouldn't, like Burial Grounds, because you'd be exposed and it only lasts for 60 seconds. This would be really powerful in very special circumstances. And since hexes are really powerful and people really like to use them, this could be really good. So this looks like it could be used really well and abused. There's no cooldown, so you guys could tap heal each other and then run for 4 seconds and then tap heal each other again because there's no cooldown. But whatever. Let's look here. Nope, no cooldown over here either. I wonder if she sounds like she's squealing like all the others. Looks like she's got scratch marks on her elbows. Scratch marks on her hand. And she has some glasses in her pocket. Is it a monocle of some sort? Maybe it's a peeping device to look around and stuff. Cheryl, caring and impulsive Cheryl Mason, previously known as Heather, attempted to rebuild her life after the tragic death of her adoptive father, Harry Mason. It's interesting that she changed her name from Heather. Puffy Vest, a warm vest to keep her from harm at night with a broken flashlight that she kept as a good luck charm. I don't like how it's so bright and white, especially if you're gonna start from level 20, rank 20 with her. A-line skirt, fashionable skirt and warm boots to face what lurks in the dark. Doesn't look like an A-line. Maybe that's something I'm unfamiliar with, but I would think an A-line would be like slashing sideways like an A-cut, or slashing sideways like A-cut haircut. I think A-cut goes like this, and it hangs in front of your face. So this should hang like something like that, but it's not. And the only thing it has is an hourglass because it's the woman's figure, not so much the skirt. Anyways, okay, so I do still have all my old. This is my first time going on public test build, so it's just interesting to look at. I have my points carried over from the real game, but anything I do to this build up on this girl will be deleted once the public test build is over. So I'm not gonna invest as much as I can into her. So I guess this is part of the Silent Hit IP. And here's Executioner. Looks like he's loading in still, so that's cool. It looks like rain is falling in front of us, but it also might just be the old movie effects that they're trying to portray. Although we can see over here there is rain hitting the ground, so that's neat. Forced Penance, uncommon, the Executioner perk. Those who stand in the way of duty will suffer harsh judgment. Survivors who take a protection hit are inflicted with the broken status effect for 20 seconds. So broken means they can't heal. That'd be interesting because there are some things, especially from Ash, to take 3 protection hits, something like that, and then their next time they're hit that would have downed them does not down them. Trail of Torment, uncommon, the Executioner perk. You guide your victims along a path of pain and punishment. After kicking a generator, you become undetectable for 15 seconds. During this time, the generator's yellow aura is revealed to survivors. This effect can only trigger once every 120 seconds. So this will probably come down 10 seconds every time you upgrade it, so it's 3 pips. So it could come down to maybe 100 seconds, or maybe even 80 seconds. Deathbound. Those whose lives are intertwined in darkness are destined to suffer together. When a survivor heals another survivor for 1 health state at least 32 meters away from the killer, the survivor performing the healing action will scream, revealing their location and activating Deathbound for the next 45 seconds. During that time, the survivor will suffer from the Oblivious status effect when further than 16 meters away from the healed survivor. So basically, if a survivor heals someone 1 whole health state, and they're at least 32 meters away from the killer, from you, it reveals their location for 45 seconds. Oh no, it makes them oblivious when they're close to the other healer, close to the survivor that is healed. Oblivious means the survivor does not hear the killer's terror radius. The survivor also is not affected by any effects that are conditional to being inside of the terror radius. At the same time, it would bring the Executioner over to them. Okay, well that's cool and all. This is probably the most important piece. Let's see, I'll just put this in. So it seems like this guy's a chasing killer in my opinion so far. He's got 32 meter terror radius, he can run really fast. Nothing indicates that he's a trap killer so far. So let's read this. Rights of Judgment power. Open the gates of suffering and be judged. The great knife splits the ground, giving rise to an infernal construct and spreading agony to all who approach. Rights of Judgment. Hold the power button to activate, then move in any direction to carve a trail into the ground. Survivors who walk or run on the trail will trigger killer instinct and will be afflicted with torment. Survivors affected by torment may be sent to a cage of atonement while they are in the dying state. Huh. So Killer Instinct is you get to see where they are. It starts pulsing on them, and there's a red entity wrapped around them, basically, and you can see them from whatever distance, I suppose. This looks like infinite, but it's really close to you, so we gotta wonder how far his trail lasts. Cage of Atonement sounds very interesting because that would put them out of the game for that amount of time. Which would be pretty cool too, because then survivors would have to rescue them, perhaps. Special attack, Punishment of the Damned. Press the attack button while Rites of Judgment is active to perform Punishment of the Damned. This unleashes a wave of force damaging any survivors in its path. Cage of Atonement. Press the active ability button while standing over a dying survivor suffering from torment to send them to a Cage of Atonement. Survivors in a Cage of Atonement can be sacrificed as they were on a hook. During the second phase of the summoning ritual, they will be forced to complete skill checks to hold off the entity. Being rescued or rescuing another survivor from a Cage of Atonement will remove torment. Final Judgment. Press the active ability button when standing over a dying survivor suffering from torment who has already reached struggling phase on a hook or in a cage to execute them. Interesting. He's got a big head. Character info, the Executioner. Backstory. A sadistic and merciless executioner, Pyramid Head is fixated on dispensing punishment through pain, encumbered by the steel frame upon his head and with a hulking great blade in tow. He stalked the hellish corridors of Silent Hill, committed to a duty that no one truly understood. Where he trod, even monsters fled for the shadows, and those who crossed his path fell victim to the unrestrained acts of aggression. When his duty was complete and his presence no longer needed, he prepared for the long rest, and yet his skills were required elsewhere. The fog that streamed over him was somehow different than that he was accustomed to in Silent Hill, as if each wisp contained the nerves of a creature writhing, seeking him out. There was an unspoken agreement in that moment, the billowing cloud that was an invitation to duty and sadism, and Pyramid Head taking a step into the fog, accepting his obligation once more. This is taking some time.